Baltimore, Maryland, October 9. A Washington Redskins helmet sits on the field prior to the game against the Baltimore Ravens at M&T by Todd Olszewski, Getty Images. Signings came in fast and frequent at the start of the league's legal tampering period at noon on Monday, and the Washington Redskins found themselves headlining the day itself. With just $17 million in cap space on paper, the Redskins signed former Giants All-Pro safety Landon to a 6-year deal worth $84 million. Collins, 25, will undoubtedly be the premier signing of Washington's 2019 free agency period, but the Redskins aren't done yet. With 2 days left to go before the turn of the new league year, and with a fresh 48 hours of legal tampering left to play out, there's plenty of time for Washington to add to their free agency class, and they've shown early on that they're not afraid of the cap limitations. They'll do what they need to do in order to get who they want. Want your voice heard? Join the Riggo's Rag team. Write for us. So who might the Redskins want? Who might they get? That's what we'll take a look at in the slides to come. As legal tampering commences, and as more free agents sign deals, we'll update this article with official destinations. Page 2. Landon, MD, December 17, outside linebacker Preston Smith. Photo by Rob Carr, Getty Images. I'm going to cheat and list one in-house free agent who hasn't yet signed with a new team, to the surprise of some. Preston Smith was expected to be one of the first edge defenders off the board in free agency, but here we are. It's Tuesday, the second day of the legal tampering period, and no deal is in place yet. A deal is bound to be reached, and Smith has interest from multiple teams, but for now, the door is still open for Washington to make some room and re-sign him. While some may be on board with that possibility, however, the signing of Landon to a 6-year, $84 million deal complicates things. The Redskins let Jamison Crowder walk to the Jets with little resistance. Collins' blockbuster deal could be a precursory signal of a mass exodus in D.C. and Smith could soon be the next to go. With a strong edge class on the way in April, the value almost demands that Smith leaves. It was already somewhat of a surprise that Smith remained unclaimed through one day of free agency, so it will be very interesting to see how his situation develops on day 2. The Redskins could end up getting a third-round compensatory pick in 2020 from Smith, if a team likes him enough. But the early silence surrounding his next contract doesn't bode well for those hopes. When he finally inks a deal somewhere, the numbers will be telling, not just for Smith, but for the Redskins' future without him. Page 3. Indianapolis, in November 25, Leonte Carroo. Photo by Andy Lyons, Getty Images. There's been no hint of interest in this free agent cornerback class from the Redskins, and there's no reason for them to be particularly interested. The class is weak, and Washington doesn't have a very pressing need at cornerback. Josh Norman is still a quality starter, even if his contract could use some tinkering. Quinton Dunbar is a quality starter when healthy, with the potential to expand beyond his current state. And Fabian Moreau has developed nicely into a physical starting slot cornerback, with upside heading into his 3rd season. That said, while the Redskins' starting situation is stable for now, more depth can be had aside from promising second-year cornerback Greg Stroman. Adding depth with the potential to succeed Josh Norman as a starter. Even better. In that case, Pierre Desir seems like an intriguing find. Desir isn't particularly young for a cornerback, he turns 29 years old later this year. But he recently embarked on his first season as a full-time NFL starter with the Colts, and he fared very well, submitting a 77.7 Pro Football Focus grade, while amassing an interception, 10 pass deflections, and allowing just a 57.8 completion percentage. Desir's 2018 performance should get him a look as a fringe starter somewhere, and he could ultimately re-sign with the Colts. But if the price is right, the Redskins could consider bringing him aboard. In the modern NFL, you can never have too many cornerbacks. Page 4 JACKSONVILLE, Florida, December 2nd, Tashawn Gibson. Photo by Sam Greenwood, Getty Images. Yes, I know. The Redskins already signed a safety in free agency, and a fairly expensive one at that. But with how saturated this safety market is, the Redskins could very well double-dip at the position, and sign another veteran to pair with Landon Collins. Trey Boston comes to mind as a cost-effective option whose coverage prowess could pair well with Landon Collins' skill set. Adrian Amos is still available as well, although he'd be a bit more expensive. One name that's garnered some traction, for other reasons, is Tashawn Gibson, formerly of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gibson spent time with newly anointed Redskins defensive backs coach Ray Horton in Cleveland, and he's a veteran who peaked under Horton in his time with the Browns, logging 6 interceptions in 2014. Not as young as he once was, Gibson has fallen victim to inconsistent play in recent years, but the Redskins have been known to prioritize familiarity with their signings. Gibson would easily be cheaper than Collins, but depending on how quickly the safety market moves after the Collins deal, he could be more expensive than intended for Washington. With Monty Nicholson still under contract, with a second chance still a possibility, it could be smart for the Redskins to avoid using assets on a streaky starter. But they're interested, nonetheless, and the thought of shoring up both safety slots has to be on their conscience. Page 5 ARLINGTON, August 16th, CJ. Photo by Ronald Martinez, Getty Images. If you're looking for optimism surrounding a potential C.J. Mosley signing by the Redskins, you won't find it here. Even before free agency, I wasn't a fan. After hearing he might command $16 million a year, I really wasn't a fan. After the Redskins signed Landon Collins, I thought it was off the table entirely. For ESPN reporter John Keim, the Redskins are still, somehow, interested in signing Baltimore Ravens standout C.J. Mosley. They had $17 million in cap space, and then dropped Landon Collins' $14 million annual value deal on the books. Granted, Collins' deal will only count $4 million against the cap in 2019, the work of Eric Schaffer, but the team's cap situation is still fairly strained, and they're still interested in signing Mosley, who's rumored to want, I repeat, $16 million a year. It's at these lengths that the Redskins' infatuation for former Alabama defenders confounds the mind, with its seemingly limitless bounce, even when reason is lacking. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, signing Mosley would be an awful move, especially for a Redskins team that has many other, more efficient options on the table. But value aside, the Redskins could make this work, from a purely financial standpoint. It would be a snug fit, and they'd have to cut or trade some players, but it could work, with some maneuvering. It's not a smart move, but it's a move the Redskins seem determined to make, and thus, it's something to watch in the coming hours. Page 6 away KLAND, November 11th, Tyrell Williams. Photo by Theron W. Henderson, Getty Images. The Redskins are one of many teams still in the hunt for former Chargers wide receiver Tyrell Williams. For now, their free agency priority seems to be defense, but after letting Jamison Crowder go on day one of legal tampering, they have a need for a starting receiver, and Williams is still available. Williams, standing at 6'4", 205, would bring the Redskins an enticing combination of speed and size, but at a price. He hit the 1,000-yard mark back in 2016, and teams know that if he's in the right situation, he can do it again. In a deep but top-light free agent wide receiver class, Williams naturally rises to the top with his unique skill set, and the Redskins, ever needy for a dynamic offensive talent, could find themselves allured to Williams, no matter how pricey he might become after a bidding war. Next, Redskins' 15 best free agent acquisitions in history. Keep an eye on Williams, and the rest of the free agent field, as the legal tampering period progresses. The Redskins are not done yet. Not even close.